Hello guys, welcome back for another review here on my channel. If you don't know me and you're new here, welcome. My name is Laurie from Gopolished. I do have an Instagram account as well where I post all things nail polish and sometimes gardening, but I wanted to welcome you to my channel here, and if you're new, I would love for you to join us and be notified if I have any videos popping up. So thanks for being here and watching. So in my last video, I asked you guys if you guys wanted me to do a full review of the new Olive and June Quick Dry fall winter collection, and you guys wanted me to, so I went ahead and did it. The reason I asked was because a lot of the polishes were sold out. I think the whole set has sold out twice. It's been pretty popular and there are some really great colors in here. I was worried that they wouldn't get restocked, but I think they will. So I went ahead and filmed everything and did comparisons for you guys today, so that's what I have and that's what I'll be sharing with you. So hopefully you find this helpful, and I guess you'll have to keep checking the site. You can also put in there your email address and they will notify you when the color you want is back in stock, but hopefully this video helps you narrow down which ones you want so you can get on that email list. I will have links down below to this collection and to the polishes, so that will be helpful too, so you can check back there too, and I'll try to notify you guys on Instagram if they do come back in stock. But anyway, so there are 12 polishes in this collection. You can use my code when you shop on their website, OJGoPolish20, and that gives new customers 20% off a mani or pedi system, which are really nice. I also want to mention that the link that I have down below is an affiliate link. I get a small percentage of the purchase, which really helps out my channel, so I just wanted you to be aware of that and say thank you for that, because that does help me on my channel. Okay, so anyway, the 12 polishes, there's some shimmery ones in here, there's lots of creams, and they all have kind of different formulas, which can be a little bit thinner, but I do find that they last a little bit longer, so that is the bonus about it. But they build up really nice in a couple coats, and I'll let you know which ones don't build up in a couple nice coats, and then I'll let you know how close they are to polishes in their main line and some other mainstream brands. Before we get into it, I'm going to talk about my shirt here. It's more of a shacket, really. Actually, it's a corduroy navy shacket, which I love. I just picked it up from LL Bean, and it has pockets, which I love, and it's super warm. I'm actually roasting in it down here. But it's really nice and cozy outside, and I think it's super cute with jeans. Anyway, I'm really excited about it. I'm loving corduroy again. I even got some corduroy pants, which have been really fun. And then on my nails, I'm really craving these kind of pumpkin spice colors, which I typically don't. I don't wear them a lot in fall, winter, but I think they look so cute with this navy color. And speaking of, I do have a favorite blue polish video that just went up a couple weeks ago, and it's all my favorite fall, winter blues to wear. You should go watch it because it's good. There's lots of good polishes in there. And then this one is called In the Conservatory, and I believe this wasn't available, but it is now, and so you can check that out there at Beyond Polish. I'll have the link down to this polish below for you guys. If you do purchase it from Beyond Polish, use my code for that. It's GoLaurie10, and that will give you 10% off full priced items. This is a really great one, and a lot of you really liked this one. I do have a review of this collection as well, lots of plugs. But I'll put that link down below also so you can see it, because this collection is great. I think this was my favorite fall collection of the year. It's fantastic. And then last thing on my lips, I have this Buxom lipstick. It's a full-on lipstick and it's Juicy Peach. And it is a beautiful, I would say it's a more brown shade, which I'm really loving for fall. So that's the one that I have on, and I just picked this up. Okay, let's get into the review and talk about all 12 polishes. I'll try to go through it quickly so this video isn't super long. First we have Elevator, and it's an interesting shade. It has a gray base, it's a little bit sheer, and then it has this iridescent shimmer in it. It goes from like pink to orange. It's really pretty. It is quite sheer so that shimmer shows through. So it is gonna take 3 coats to build this one up. And I was thinking, man, I've seen this polish before, and it is pretty much the same as a polish that they have in their regular line, and I'm gonna show that comparison in a minute. But while I applied them, I wanted to make sure I checked to see if it did really dry quicker than the other one, and I did find that it did dry quicker. Olive and June polishes tend to take a little bit longer to dry, and I think that's because of the ingredients they have in there to make it long lasting. And so compared to that one, this did dry quicker, so that was kind of fun to see. I like their shears. They apply very evenly. They're not patchy, so even though I have to do those 3 coats, they go on very nice and smooth, and I've never had an issue with them. Okay, let's look at that comparison so you can see how it compared to that other polish. And this is the only one that I compared it to just because it was pretty pretty much a dupe. And that one was Lucky Oyster. If I am correct, I'm not sure if I am, I believe that one was a limited edition polish. Maybe it's not. But anyway, it's pretty much exact. So if you have Lucky Oyster, you definitely don't need Elevator. The only difference being that this is from the quick dry line, so it's going to dry a little bit faster. I thought this one was interesting. I liked that Lucky Oyster one when it came out too. I don't typically reach for colors like this, but I do find it very cool. Next up is Sugarcoat Pink. This one has a nice pale pink base. The shimmer's very strong. It's kind of the, I don't know how to explain it, kind of a green yellow tint to it. It's very pretty, almost golden, I would say. And it also does have that sheer base so that you can see that shimmer shining through. This one does have a quite strong shimmer though, so on your nails sometimes it's actually just going to look like it's gold. Polish on your nails, it can be hard to see in some lights, that pink base. So it does have that same formula as the last one, so you're going to need 3 coats to build this one up, at least for me, because I don't like to see that nail line. Probably could get away with 2 coats, but for me, I prefer the 2. Okay, so let's look at the comparisons because it did remind me of some from other brands, so let's check those out. So I compared it to Twinkle in Time, and that's more of a white base, but it has that similar shimmer in there. And then OPI Marion Eyes, it has a pink base like this one, but the golden shimmer isn't as strong. And then OPI Snow Holding Back is more of a white base, and that one does have the strongest shimmer in it. It does appear close in the picture to Twinkle in Time, but the difference there being that Twinkle in Time has that more white base. So it wasn't exactly the same, but it did remind me a lot of those polishes. So hopefully you can see the differences there and decide on your own if you want to get this one or not. But I do find it to be a pretty color, and I think it's fun for winter time. Then we have Canyon. It's this beautiful kind of clay color. This one's a little softer. It has a little more white in the base, and I would say it leans a little more peachier, and it's a little bit more muted. So I do like this one. As you can see, the one on my nail has more red. It's a little bit stronger and rich, so this one is just a little bit more muted. That's the difference there, and I like that. I liked this one quite a bit. It was kind of close to my skin tone, which I didn't love as much, and you'll see that in my picture here, but I love the color tone of it. I think it's so pretty, and I think it's so fun for fall. I put a big heart by it. The formula on this one's really great too. It's a little bit sheer, but it builds up nicely in 2 coats, so it's got that nice crelly formula, which I really love, which is a reason that I love Olive in June, because I do love those crelly formulas. I know some people don't appreciate that formula, but it's one of my favorites just because the polishes come out so shiny and glossy. It's just so pretty. Okay, let's look at those comparisons. So I compared it to Essie Snooze In, and that's more of a pinky peach and a little bit lighter. That's the one I really thought of though when I got this polish out. And then I compared it to MG, which is a little bit more nude leaning, but I thought you'd want to see how that one compared in their line. And then it's a little more sheer also. And then Freedom of Peach is a little bit more orangey, I believe. I didn't write anything down, so you can see the difference there. I did find this to be quite unusual. I did go through all my Essies and didn't find anything exactly the same. It just has enough of that muted peachy tone that it sets it apart from others just slightly. This next one is Fawn, and I love a good mousy brown, and this one is so beautiful, you guys. I love it so much. I thought about putting this one on too, but I'm definitely going to wear this. The other day I saw on Instagram someone had a French tip with a mousy brown on top, and it was so pretty. I was like, oh, if I had those long rounded nails, I'd really want to do that. I don't really have that nail shape. It's just not how my nails grow. And I don't put on tips or anything, but it just looked so pretty. I'm like, maybe one of these days I'll put on some tips and do that just because I thought it looked so pretty. So if you do have nails like that or you do tips, try that out with a mousy brown. I love browns so much. I'm gonna really try to get out my favorite browns video next week because I love to wear browns in the fall, and it's gotten a little crazy here, but I'm gonna try to get that up for you guys because I know a lot of you have been wanting to see that. This will probably be added into it. Anyway, the formula on this one's really great too. 2 coats and it built up nicely. This is one of my favorites from this collection. So just keep that in mind. And I do believe this one is sold out right now, but it should be back in stock soon. Okay, so let's look at those comparisons. So I compared it to Truth or Bear. That one is a little darker, but it's the closest out of these. Fawn maybe has a touch more gray in it. And then OPI Squeaker of the House, which is my favorite mousy brown. Love that polish so much. It has a little bit more gray in it, and it has even maybe a hint of green. So hopefully you can see that there in the picture, but that's close too. And then Slaya is a touch darker. That one's a really beautiful beautiful polish too, and it's a little bit cooler toned. So anyway, I love this one. As you can tell, if you haven't tried wearing brown in the fall, definitely go for it. That's probably the only time I would wear brown polish in the fall, so I love when fall comes around because I can, and I love it. And I know I've converted some of you to wearing brown too that haven't tried it, so if you haven't tried wearing brown, I suggest you do. Then we have Penny here, and it's this really beautiful soft coppery color. It's kind of a pearly shimmery shade, and it's beautiful. I like polishes like this, but I don't usually wear them. I know Essie has Penny Talk, which I've worn a couple times. I do like this one a little bit better, and I'll tell you why when we look at comparisons. And I know this one's going to be pretty popular because I know a lot of people like to wear these kind of coppery shades. This one has kind of a sheerish formula, a little bit more sheer than I thought. I think you can build it up in 2. You might need to do 3 though, depending on how you apply it. But here are the polishes that I compared it to. I compared it to OPI Made It to 7th Hill, and that one's more coppery and more of a pearl shade that you can see. Penny applies smoothly and evenly, and you can see that, and the shimmer is pretty smooth and even. And then as you look at Penny Talk, you can see that that one's more metallic. It has more of a rose tint to it. So that's the one that I really wanted to compare it to. And then I compared it to OJBH, and that's a shimmery gold, just because I wanted you to see the gold difference between those polishes, and that one's definitely different. So I do think this one is unique to their line, and so I love that they have it, and I think a lot of you are really gonna like this one. And then we have Americano, and this is a deeper brown, and it's a very warm brown. There's a lot of companies that are coming out with warm browns lately, and I do love them. So in the last couple years, I have a handful that are my favorites, and so when we look at comparisons, I'll tell you which one is my favorite out of the bunch. They're all pretty nice. And I will say this maybe has just a slight hint of green to it. This one does have a more sheer formula. It's probably the most sheer out of all the polishes in this collection, which kind of surprised me a bit because it doesn't look that sheer when you look at it. But I was surprised how much it built up in 2 coats, but you might need 3 for this one. Okay, let's get into comparisons. I compared it to Tip Your Barista, and that one's very close. It's maybe just a touch lighter, and I thought you'd want to see that to this one, so that is pretty close. And then OPI Cliffside Karaoke is also very close, if not exact, and that one's a really nice one too. That one does have a more opaque formula. And then Orly Don't Be Suspicious. I like this one the best, and it's a little bit darker and a little richer. Out of all these, if I had to choose, that would be the one that I chose, and that one's fall collection like I mentioned earlier. The same collection as the one that I'm wearing. I will put the review down below for that collection so you can check that out. Anyway, this one's beautiful, but if you have Tip Your Barista, you might not need this one. Then we have Fiddle Fig, another green. Like I mentioned in the last review for the Olive and June winter collection, they had a green in that one too. They have a new one in this quick dry line. There's so many. Oh, so many greens. I don't want to get tired of them. This one's beautiful though. It's a beautiful pine green, and it's got like a hint of blue in it, so it's almost teal leaning. But I'm loving these brighter greens for this fall. There was one from Essie, I believe it was called Midnight Mirage. I'll put the name here if I'm wrong. But I love that one from the Target exclusive collection, Mystical Mist collection. I have a review of that. That one's even brighter than this one, so I didn't do a comparison for that. But anyway, lots of different greens they're coming out with. The formula on this one is great. It built up nicely in 2 coats, and let's have a quick view at comparison. So I compared it to Besties from Olive and June, and that one's just a hint brighter green. And then OPO My Studios on Spring is very much like Besties. I don't remember comparing those, but those are very close. And then Into the Trees is the deepest out of all of these, but it has that same color tone. So this one is a little bit different. It's just slightly different than Besties, and Besties is one of my favorite Olive and June polishes, so I like this one too. Then we have Twilight, and this one is so beautiful, you guys. It has this really muted purple base. It's a little bit smoky, and it's a little bit soft, and then underneath it has this very subtle iridescent shimmer in there that's that pink orange that those other polishes have, and it's so pretty, and I think it's perfect for fall. I love muted smoky purples, and I'm sure a lot of you do too in the fall time. This one is just lovely with that little bit of shimmer. You guys, I'm kind of branching out a little bit and going for more of these shimmery shades, but they still have to be a little subtle. It does build up nicely in 2 coats. That first coat is a little bit sheer, but like I mentioned before, that second coat just builds up really nicely, and it kind of surprises me that it's fully opaque, but it is. And and let's look at comparisons. I grabbed Art Class because I knew this color tone was pretty similar, and I really think this polish is Art Class with the shimmer in it. And so if you loved Art Class, you're gonna love this one because it's got that similar color tone. I don't know if they're exactly the same, but to me they look pretty much the same. Art Class is another one of my favorite Olive and June polishes. I grabbed OPI Audio Bad Nails Chow Great Nails, and that one's a little more gray and lighter, and that one does have a little bit of very subtle shimmer in it too. I love that one. It's one of my favorite OPI shades for fall. It just kind of reminded me of that, but they're quite different. And then OPI Galleria Vittorio Violet is lighter and brighter with a subtle shimmer as well, and so that one's a little bit different too. So I did find this one to be unique, but I love it so much. This is a must-have in my opinion from this collection, just because it's just so cool and a little bit different. Next up is Primrose, and this is a beautiful shade. I want to call it a strawberry mauve. It's just the most beautiful hint of pink, and I think these polishes are so great. It's a little bit muted and soft and perfect for fall. But I do have a question for you. Is this your grandmother's mauve? I don't think it is. I think it's a little cooler. And I think that's because it is a little bit more cool toned, so it's a little bit different, but you might think it's your grandmother's mauve. I don't know. Sometimes I get weirded out by mauves, but I think this one's cool and classy. You tell me what you think. And it builds up so nicely in two coats. The formula is really beautiful and glossy, and let's look at the comparisons that we have for this one. There's a lot of shades like this out in the world. A Fig Ranch I compared it to is a touch warmer and a little bit more red leaning, but I wanted to pull that out so you could see. Lips Are Sealed is close in color but a little bit darker, and then Olive and June LD is the closest, so that one is pretty close to that. So you might not need this one, but if you don't have that one, then this one is beautiful, you guys. And like I said, I like that it feels like more of a strawberry shade, and so it makes me feel like it's not a grandma shade. But if you're a grandma, no offense, but I have memories of my grandma growing up. All she wore was mauve, but I think we're shaking it up a little bit more. And then we have Cabernet, and it's this beautiful raspberry shade. I love a good raspberry shade in the fall, which is what I like to wear this time of year. It's beautiful. There's a lot of shades like this though, so we'll see how it compares. Formula is really great and glossy and shiny, and it builds up nicely into coats. So comparison. Compared it to Nailed It. I need to pull that one out for fall. That one's so beautiful. And of course the formula on that one is like super opaque. These are all very close that you're going to see here. And then Essie Off the Record is pretty close. And then Olive and June Essie is a little bit more red toned. So I wanted you to see that. So I don't know. There's a million shades like this that I could have compared it to, and they're all maybe slightly different. I do feel like this one isn't just quite rich. It's a little bit more muted. So it is quite a bit different than a lot of the Essie shades that I have that are like this. But I think it's great that Olive and June has this in their line now, and I think it's perfect for the fall. Then we have this navy called Suited. I love the name. I'm loving all the names for these actually, you guys. And this is a nice navy blue with like a hint of purple. It is, like I said, with the other ones, and I think that's why these polishes go so well together as a whole, is because they're all a little bit muted. And so this one is also a little bit muted. So it's not like your rich inky blue, which I've really been craving this year. Essie had a really good rich inky blue. But this one's nice too. This one does have a really sheer formula, so it is a little bit different. I haven't really applied a lot of navies that are sheer like this, so it was kind of interesting. I wrote 2 coats down here, but I was like, no, I think you actually need 3. So it's a little bit of a jelly, has a little bit of cream in it, but it's a little more leaning on the jelly side. So this one is a little bit different than others that I have. So let's look at those others. So I compared it to OMG, and that one's more purple from the Olive and June line. Infinity Cool might be slightly cooler, and then Isn't It Grand Avenue is almost exact, but I will say they are different in the way that this one is a more sheer polish. So it does give it kind of that squishy jelly look. So I like this one for that fact because it is a little bit different, and I love the color tone. I love those kind of slightly purple leaning blues that are a little bit muted, like those ones that I just showed you. So I actually really liked this one a lot. And then the last one that we have is Brick, and the name is perfect because it's definitely a brick red, so it's a little bit more orange leaning. It's a little warmer. The formula is that typical Olive and June formula, so it's going to be looking like slightly sheer-ish. I don't even think that's a word, but I say it all the time. It's a word for me. It's my word. But then it does build up in 2 coats. So it's a 2-coater for sure, and it's a red, you guys. Another red. Let's do red comparisons. Do you want to see them? They're all pretty much the same. I think you can see the differences, but let's get into them. I compared it to Cozy Up, and that's almost exact. So that one is Olive and June. Is that correct? I think it is. I don't have that written down, but I believe that it is. It was pretty close to With the Band. When I first saw it, I was like, With the Band. That's one red that I can totally pick out because it just has that little bit of orange in it. And then I compared it to Orly Velvet Ribbon. That's a new one from their collection. But I believe this is a bit deeper than all these others, but they're all pretty similar. Hopefully that was helpful. You're welcome for another red comparison. Okay, let's pick my favorites. I was tempted to put Fiddle Fig, the green, in here. I'm going to. No, I'm not. Because there's so many greens coming out. Like, we need to slow down. We need to slow it down a minute. But these are pretty. These are my favorites. So the blue, which was suited, and I love that it's kind of a jelly blue. And then this beautiful purple one with the shimmer called Twilight. And then the cool mauve shade, not your grandmother's mauve, is Primrose. That's one of my faves. And then Fawn, the mousy brown, and I like that it's a little bit lighter than some of the other mousy browns that I have. And so those are my favorites for you guys. But really, I think they're all great shades, and if you're just someone who sticks with Olive and June, you might need all of these because, except for some that were close to some in their line, because they're really adding a lot of new polishes to their collection. Appreciate you shopping off my affiliate links. That really helps me out. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you want to get. Hopefully they're in stock soon. I feel like they don't say limited edition on them, so they're going to be restocking them. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.